What gives a person faith? What gives someone the courage to leap when there is no guarantee they will land on solid ground? A leap doesn't always mean success. So why do some people, against statistics, against circumstance, against every reasonable prediction, jump anyway? We applaud the ones who prevail. We celebrate them. They inspire us. But before the applause, before the title, before the triumph, they are just a person standing on the edge, wondering if their belief is enough. That is the question I came to explore, and I began with my mama.
They always clean my bait off. I had my bait on the end right there. See that? Of the hook. See the hook?
Yeah.
And I had the bait on the end. They eat the bait and they go about their business.
My mother grew up in the deep South, in a time and place where the doors available to her were few and often locked. Raised by a single mother with a sixth grade education, she grew up knowing how to stretch what little you had, how to keep going when nothing around you said you should.
I remember my mama was making maybe $30 a week, which of course was pretty good during that time. But she still was feeding. There were 3 children at the time. Mama at that point, Mama was working like 2 or 3 jobs. She cleaned this woman's house, which she half day. Then she go clean her house. The other half day, she worked at a restaurant one time. Mama's dream was to own her own home. That was her big dream.
There's a park right here, Charlotte, called Dijon Park. That's where Mickey used to come and chase me back home. There was a basketball court there. He wouldn't let me. I'd follow him. He'd chase my ass over. I'd turn around and follow his ass. Remember Miss Hattie and them used to live there one time.
Right.
They eventually moved down there, but they used to live right there one time. Right here.
She found, I don't even know how Mama negotiated all this. But I never forget, she said, it costs a lot of money though. It's a new house.
Yeah.
That's it?
Yeah, took the fence down.
That's why it looks so different. Okay, let me get out. Can I? You think I can?
Yeah.
103.
It's what people call, they call that a shell home. Because it didn't have all of the things inside. I don't know how she managed to, we moved in, they did have everything inside. You know, sometimes it's missing a wall or this or that, but somehow or other Mama got all that in. That was done. But she told us, she said, it costs a lot of money. That house cost $5,000. Really, Mama? $5,000? Where you get $5,000? Well, they only asked me to put down $500. So I think I got it saved. So she saved that money, and we moved into that house. And you would have thought that we had moved into a mansion. We were so happy about that house.
Tan used to talk about the plum tree. Plum tree home.
Plum tree was back there.
She loved this little house.
I did too.
Yeah. It was so comfortable.
Yeah, I can't believe. Thought it felt like a 3,000 square foot house when we was coming up.
My grandmother did the impossible. She fed them, clothed them, and kept them safe. And somehow purchased a house. Not because she had degrees or financial literacy or generational wealth, but because she had grit, a vision, and, most importantly, it seems, faith that refused to let her stop. But poverty, I would learn later, is not just about money. It's a system, a structure, a place you are not meant to leave. Less than 10% of people born in poverty ever make it to the top. 10%. And for those in the middle, the almost middle class, the odds of staying there are barely a coin toss. So, how did my mother do it? How did she leap from where she started to become one of the few African American principals of a high school in the South in the early 1990s, an era when that title alone was nearly unheard of? I started by asking her, what was she thinking?
The children who came from what they call stable families, they were encouraged to go to school. I don't remember anybody at my school encouraging me to go to college. I think they had already prejudged she don't get to afford to go to college. I'm arguing. She only has it's only her mom, blah, 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 blah. So nobody ever said I should have gotten a scholarship, but I didn't get one. I sent an application to the University of South Carolina nursing school. And they sent me a letter back and said that they did not accept colored students.
Yeah.
And that there was a nursing school called Waverly in Columbia, South Carolina, that I could attend. They took colored students.
My mother's answer surprised me. It wasn't a straight line of work hard, get good grades, and doors will open, because for her, the doors stayed shut. Teachers didn't always encourage her, counselors didn't always guide her, and no one at school prepared her for a future beyond survival. But then there was the Reverend.
So we were all sitting on the porch one day, Mama's porch, just a bunch of teenagers. I had graduated and didn't know what in the world. I must have been out of school like 2 or 3 weeks. Didn't know what I was going to do. And my pastor, Reverend Frank Hams, came by the house. He said, Thompson, what you going to do? I said, I don't know. I really don't know. I guess I have to find a job. He said, well, you could go to school. You could go to college. I said, well, I don't know about that. I don't have any money. And I told him about my applying to nursing school at all. He said, listen, I'm going to talk to your mama. He said, I'm going to come back here, if it's okay with her, and pick you up. And I'm going to take you over there to Benedict College. And that's where you're going to go, if you want to. I said, me go to college? He said, yeah. And he came back and picked me up. I remember it was a $25 admission fee. He paid it.
A helping hand that didn't follow the rules of meritocracy. A moment of intervention that did not align with the idea that success is solely earned. And that made me wonder, is there ever really such a thing as a self-made story? Or is there always some force, seen or unseen, nudging people toward their next step? My own journey with money and class began in graduate school. There I learned the theories and the research, how class is reproduced, how education fits into the equation, how systems are designed to keep certain people exactly where they began. I used to think the formula was simple. Do well in school, choose a career, build the life you dream about. But then I became a single mother, and life showed me its fine print. I learned that degrees do not guarantee stability. Hard work does not always equal wealth, and the careers that once supported families comfortably no longer stretch as far. My parents' formula didn't work for my generation, and I found myself searching for answers in new places. Books like Think and Grow Rich, and the long lineage of self-help that all circles back to a single theme: belief, faith, a higher power that responds to what you think, what you speak, and what you dare to imagine. Which brings me full circle to the same precipice my mama once stood on. The work is there, the preparation is there, the training, the discipline, the drive, all present. But the breakthrough, the opportunity, the good fortune, the open door, what determines that? Is it timing? Is it luck? Is it a God-aligned nudge? Or is it something inside a person, a quiet, unshakable knowing that the leap is worth taking even when nothing supports the logic? Maybe faith is the bridge between where you are and where you're trying to go. Maybe perseverance is the price of admission, and maybe outliers, those rare few who rise from impossible places, are not simply exceptional, but maybe they are guided.
I got a job first teaching at Batesburg-Leesville High School. And stayed there for like 10 years. Sufi Dor asked me, was I interested in administration? I said, I never really thought about school administration. She said, listen here, you would be good at it. I became an administrative assistant. and then the next year an AP, assistant principal, and stayed there for 3 years. Then I came to Columbia to work at W. Perry. Stayed there 3 years, and assistant principal. And then there was a job vacancy in Orangeburg as principal in the middle school. At that time, I was ready to become a principal. I was tired of being assistant principal. I got the job. MJ Clark Middle School. I was there 3 years. The superintendent there, Walter Tobin, Dr. Tobin said he wanted me to go to OW, Orangeburg Wilkinson High School. So it was a school at that time of about 2,200 students, and had been through 8 principals in 6 years, something like that. He saw things were going well at William J. Clark Middle School. So went to OW. We belonged to high schools at work. Things went well, and I retired in 1999.
So I ask again, what gives a person faith? Maybe it's the echo of a mother who refused to quit. Maybe it's the memory of someone who believed in you before you believed in yourself. Maybe it's God, or intuition, or ancestral whispers reminding you that where you start is not where you must stay. Or maybe faith is the leap. And this story, my mother's story, is proof that sometimes when you leap with conviction, the ground rises up to meet you.
I guess you gotta believe in yourself, and you gotta believe that a way is gonna be made. I'm not gonna be made, but it's gonna be made. And people gotta believe in you, because you're gonna need people to help you.